Hey everyone, welcome to the Fresh Start podcast. I'm Marcia, and Stacey is out this week. She had a death in the family, so y'all keep her in your prayers and your thoughts as she is navigating all of that. We love you, Stacey, and we miss you. But I have two of our kind of semi-regulars on with me to help do our hot topics of the month. We have our other Staci Frenes. Hey, Stacy, out in California.
Hey, hey, good to be here.
I bet the weather's better out there than it is here.
It's pretty nice. I went for a walk today.
Well, it has been kind of warm here the last couple of days, but it's getting cold again. It was fake spring. We have that in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have our friend from Canada, Amie. How are you, Amie?
I'm doing good. Thanks for
Um,
having me again.
sure. I'm so glad there's so much going on in the world. We had our friend Mark Smeby come on last week and talk about everything that's going on in Minneapolis.
It was great.
He's got boots on the ground there, and I I was happy to hear today that they're actually removing all of ICE out of Minneapolis. And so that's really good news for our Minnesota friends. So congratulations, Minnesota friends. I know that that's a relief to you guys. But before we get into anything specific, Amie, since you're our emotional support Canadian,
I love that term. I need
know,
a shirt.
I know I'm going to get you one. What's the word on the street in Canada about what's going on in the US? I mean, does it affect you guys at all, or do people talk about it? Do you get US
Oh
news?
yeah, people talk about it. People
Really?
talk about it a lot. Yeah. I'm Southern Ontario, so yeah, and for some sometimes I think I know more about your politics than I know about my own politics.
Really?
Yeah, like people talk about it a lot. And then we have the same kind of polarity too in terms of like we have the same dynamics. Like we've got those who are labeled like progressive and liberals, and then who have certain terms for conservatives, and then we have conservatives, and then we have religious conservatives, and it I dare say it's like the same thing, minus maybe like we have laws about guns and that sort of thing. Although I don't know if you guys heard, but we had a mass shooting
Mm-hmm.
in British Columbia this week.
I did hear that.
Our good friend Ramona texted me the other day and said, "My heart is aching because I heard about the school shooting," and I was like, "What?" Like, I think she accidentally like texted the wrong person. So before I responded to her, I just did a quick Google, and I guess it happened late in the day on Tuesday, and
At a school?
at a school. Yeah. So there was, I think 9 people died and several people ended up in the hospital. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it seems like
And that's really rare for Canada, right?
it's very rare. It's very rare.
That's
We get a
scary.
little verbal once in a while, but we don't generally get. We generally don't, like, people don't have access to weapons that way. So
Right,
it was
right.
very shocking.
Oh man, I'm so sorry
Wow.
to hear that. Yeah, I mean, it's just become, you hear about a mass shooting in America and it's almost like, oh, another
Mm-hmm.
one. It doesn't even seem like it hits uh the way it used to because there are just so many. It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, we do talk, just to go back to your original question, we do talk about American politics. It's fascinating. I'm
Uh,
getting used to it. That's why I was a little leery to do when you texted me about doing a hot topics episode. I thought I'm very like my nervous system doesn't do well around like high conflict just
mhm.
because of being in so much high conflict. So I've
Yeah.
really been trying to get better about talking about something like hot topics
Yeah.
and having differing opinions or whatever it may be, and not having it make me
Well,
so dysregulated.
I hope
So
you put on deodorant. So,
I did this morning.
Stacey, how is it out in California? Or how are you doing with all of this stuff?
Yeah, I feel like in some ways we're a little bit in sort of a democratic bubble out here, to some
Hmm.
extent, so that those of us who have kind of more progressive leanings, as I have had in the last few years, I feel like it's not hard to find like-minded people out here to sort of,
Hmm. Hmm.
there's definitely still pockets of lots of conflict and lots of differing opinions about things. But, I was at a book group the other night at a church near me, and it's an Episcopal church. And it was so interesting because we just were kind of doing this beginning banter, in this book group. And someone mentioned um, ICE, the situation in Minneapolis, and kind of thinking about what they would do in that situation. And it was this elderly woman, full on white haired, older woman who said, "Well, I think I'd have the courage to, pull down their mask, but I don't know that I'd have the courage to like take their picture, and really, because like I guess a lot of the protesters were going far enough to pull the mask down and take a photo. But just the fact that like, and she just said that and everyone kind of went, like that was just a common thought among the whole group was like, yes, that's what we would do. That's how
Oh
we
my
would react.
gosh.
And this is a church group, right? And so I was like, okay, I guess
Wow.
I'm with my people now, because
Oh.
the it was just an interesting vibe. It was like the assumption was we were here to defend the defenseless, and we were
Hmm.
here to stand up against those who were terrorizing. And,
Hmm.
um, those are certainly the images we've all been getting, for the most part. So it's difficult now to have conversations. I mean, I have people in my family and extended family who feel absolutely the opposite about most of the hot topics we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it remains a challenge to stay to keep listening to other people and to
Hmm.
keep hearing people for what they believe, and not jumping to conclusions and just kind of arming myself with all the arguments and all of that. So, you know, it's it can be a challenge.
I've been
But
trying to watch a lot of Fox News to really understand, and they really do. They first of all, the topics that they are talking about are not, to me, things that are that big of a deal in America, but they're making them a big deal.
Mhm.
And then they also are just portraying all of these the ICE situation as such a positive
Mhm.
American situation, and that, if you listen to it enough, you would think, why wouldn't anyone agree with this? I mean, they really do spin it as, and they don't highlight the negative aspects of it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They sort of
Yeah.
just gloss over those negative aspects and then just constantly talk about all the criminals they're getting and
Hmm.
how they're making America safer. They're not talking about how 70% of the people that they're putting in these detention centers are not criminals.
Yeah.
They're not talking about that. They're
Yeah.
just talking, and so when you're only hearing that one side, it's it's and you think that they're telling the truth, then it's hard to understand why people are against it.
Yeah.
Um,
It really is, an echo chamber. I mean, and all of us can get stuck in one.
mhm.
It's
Hmm.
like what you're doing, listening to Fox News, just specifically to get out of your lane to hear what the other side is others' perspectives, I guess I should say. It's that takes so much initiative on our part to do that,
Mhm.
because it's just easier to kind of turn on the familiar. In my house, it's NPR, which tends to be seen as more progressive, but I, it's hard to know. I mean, I feel like I'm getting a pretty balanced view, but I'm not getting the Fox view for sure. I know that.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's trying to find the truth in any of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, as opposed to saying, you know, like the one thing is all wrong. Like, I find when I think that it's coming from a certain perspective, my nervous system goes into like this fight or flight. It's more of a flight response. And so I lose my ability to listen. And then I'm also praying for the ability to discern.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, like, in those cases where there are criminals, okay, well, what do we do as a society around that issue? Because it might be an issue. And then also, you know, they have to be able to listen to hear, okay, well, what do we do about the people who are not criminals, who are in the system, who are trying to get their, you know, proper documentation,
Mm-hmm.
and those people who are also caught in the crossfires of it all. Like, there are lots of people who are caught in the crossfires, and I'm so thankful for a lot of the technology that's just recording a lot of this stuff, because, you know, it's so easy to end up in these high conflict areas, and then, you know, your brain is on fire because you're in this panic mode, and then later on you feel like your memory is correct, but then the people who are so-called in authority, they start twisting the
Mm-hmm.
story. And I've been in these situations, like,
Mm-hmm.
in life, not necessarily that, but then all of a sudden it's just like, you know, that part of your brain that's holding the memory, it starts getting very confused. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that so many of these people, you know, not only do they have it recorded, but like they have friends or family that are basically just saying, like, no, this is not.
Mm-hmm.
The ICE agents are already trying to twist the narrative, and the people are like, I have it on camera. You
Yeah.
did not do that. And I'm so grateful for that, because, you know, that, to be gaslit in that type of a situation, the whole thing is traumatizing. And then to, like, basically have your brain scrambled after it, and people
Mm-hmm.
try to deny your reality, it can be really despairing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're in a traumatic situation too, like that, we were just talking about our car wrecks in December. And when I had my wreck, at the time, I my brain was so jumbled, like I couldn't even remember exactly what happened. It was like, how did this happen? How did this just happen? And I go, was I not, was I not looking, or what happened? It was just a fog. And luckily my neighbor's security camera caught it, and he was able to download it and give it to me so I could see what happened. They talk about like eyewitness people are sometimes the most or the least reliable, because
Yeah.
you're in a traumatic adrenaline rush, and your brain just sometimes doesn't remember things correctly, and you doubt your memories, like you said. So
Yeah.
having it all on camera is super helpful. But the what's crazy to me is the gaslighting of, we
Yeah.
see it on camera, but then our administration is saying, no, that's not what happened. And you're like, we all see it. We see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's maddening, and it's got everyone, off balance. I mean, but maybe that's the point.
That's the whole point. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so did y'all watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I
Which,
did. I
which
was with
halftime show did you watch?
well, in our house we had family together and we were watching, and one of our family members was really looking forward to the Bad Bunny halftime show. And I wasn't really interested in the Turning Point USA alternative halftime show.
Mhm.
I'm not a fan of Kid Rock. I never, even when he was like in his heyday, I
Yeah.
didn't really get it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really look like a Kid Rock fan, Stacey.
Do I not? Do I
No,
not?
I don't think so. I mean, you could surprise us all, but
So we watched Bad Bunny, and I'm telling you, from the first note, I looked around the room and all of us were grinning, like just it was. I don't know. I just felt the love. I felt the joy from the very first. And
Yep.
I know that like I didn't understand it. And my son's girlfriend is she grew up in Mexico. So she was trying to, at first she was trying to like translate for all of us. But then she'd get to a line and go, oh no, I can't say that. I can't say that. So I know that, not everything he was saying was all like wholesome or whatever, but like it, there was just, there was an essence, there was some, so there was, there was an underlying, you could feel the underlying
Yeah.
joy to
Yeah.
his whole show. And, um, I thought it was really fun, and I felt like, and then by the time he got to the end where he was calling out all the Americas, all the different countries within the Americas, I got so choked up. It
Mm-hmm.
was so moving and
Yeah.
beautiful, and I just felt like it was just a moment where our country was our country again.
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, that's who we are, like, yeah, we're celebrating this place we call America. And so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Did you see it, Amy? Did
So
they
I
did they
actually
show it
went
up
to a
there?
Super Bowl
Oh, you
party.
Party
I got
did.
invited to a Super Bowl party for the last couple of years, so I went. I'm not a huge sports person, but I was like, I'll go. I tried to follow it. I tried to like understand it. I was around a certain type of people. I love these people. But I felt like there was going to be some commenting that maybe I didn't
Mm.
want to be triggered. Like I just didn't want to
Yeah.
feel whatever about
Yeah.
it. And so I ended up I actually walked away. I thought, you know what, I'll watch this later. So
Mm.
I ended up watching it later. There was a couple comments that I heard later on from people just about like, why would they do it in Spanish and, that sort of thing. And I had already kind of heard some of the talk. So I was like, well, isn't Puerto Rico, like I just acted kind of dumb, not
Yeah.
dumb, but you know what I mean? I was like, well, isn't Puerto Rico like part of the States? And, later on I saw an interview with, I think, Pierce Morgan, where he was basically like, hey, what's the national language of the United States? And it turns out you don't have one. It's English is not your national language. Like it's not an official national language, I should
Really?
say.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
So
Wow.
that was a big like thing that was going around on social media. So I watched it later on, and someone had posted on Facebook something about the show, and I said it seemed really great. Like I thought that was kind of cool. The trees, like I feel like,
Mhm.
oh, I could be like part of the music industry if standing trees are bushes. I'm like, that's my role. This would be great. So then, but I said, I don't know the lyrics, so I haven't translated them, so I don't really know what he was saying. Of course, I love the shout out to Canada and all the other, that's, I
Americas,
felt like
right.
that was really moving. And also, I couldn't help but think, okay, if you look at the Americas like that, like let's even pan out farther and look at the world and remember that we're all part of the world
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and we can all be one and have this kind of community spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did look up some of the lyrics afterwards, and I was like,
Yeah.
So I made a comment. I basically just said like, hey, how do we, if we don't want to have this over sexualized, men or women taking advantage of women and that sort of thing, like how do we think about these types of lyrics? And I basically realized that on this left leaning person's page that basically I got no response, which felt really bad, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
felt like here's one side, here's the other side, and here's Amie sitting in the middle. And like, it felt really lonely.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
today, knowing that we were going to talk about this, I sat on the floor because my phone needed charging, and just like a regular mid-40s woman, I'm like on my phone. I've got Bad Bunny songs going, and I've got like the lyrics, and I'm reading it. So the song came up, the one that talks about him talking to his auntie and about all the different women, and apparently one of the women says something about his, you know,
Private.
member
Yeah.
that she thinks it's great, so that's part of the lyrics. And then that was kind of the song that I was like, oh, that's whatever. But then if once I was not so escalated, and I actually like read the rest of, like listened to the rest of the song, Do I like all those lyrics? No. You know, I'm Canadian, but then I'm also like Northern European kind of. So it's not my genre, right? Like
Yeah.
so I've really been kind of thinking about that too. Like, am I just looking at and listening it to through my Northern European lens? And Latina culture is obviously a lot different. Like even the twerking.
Mm-hmm.
I sound like such a prude.
I know. Look at us as white ladies talking all about
I'm like
how
sweating. Like this when I needed the deodorant. And then the twerking, like I get it. When the music's on, I'm dancing and that sort of thing. But I'm just like,
Can you
is
twerk,
this...
Amie? Can you though?
Yeah, yeah. Can
No.
you?
Have you tried? Oh, okay.
I have tried.
You have?
And nothing is moving back in the back end. Just my knees. It's bad.
That's hilarious.
So you guys have to try too. Just try it. Anyway, that's where I kind of struggle with the over sexualization of specifically women, but also men.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my take on it. But overall, I thought it was great. Lady Gaga, like
She was
whether you
wonderful.
agree with everything she does or you don't, that woman has a talent.
Yeah.
She can jump into any genre, and just knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
She is phenomenal. Her ability to morph into the different characters and it still feel like it's part of her.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's my thing. And I also thought the other artist, who was it? Brandy Carlisle? No, is that her name?
Brandy Carlisle sang before. Yeah.
She sang the national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie Puth.
Oh, he killed it.
He was beautiful. I loved it.
They had like orchestra music in there too. There was a lot of violins. That was great.
Yeah. The music was really interesting.
It was really good.
But you make a good point about looking at it through, our lenses and not understanding certain cultural things. And I did look up because so many people were complaining about what he was saying. If you look up what he's saying, da 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 da. But I looked it up and they bleeped out, just like they would do if it was an American singing something on the Super Bowl. The bad words were bleeped out in Spanish, or they replaced them with something better, or they made it FCC friendly, I guess is what you could say. So we don't know that because we don't speak Spanish, but I did look it up, and so even if someone was listening in Spanish, I mean, I'm sure they got the sexualized content, but anything that was something they shouldn't say on a family friendly show, it was either replaced or bleeped out or something.
Well, and I don't know that I could understand Kendrick Lamar last year any more than I could understand Bad Bunny. I mean,
true. He was speaking English. I didn't understand a word he said. But again, it's our cultural lenses, right? We're just not used to hearing.
We're not their demographic either,
No, we are not.
No, but I did love. I'm with you though. I felt like it was just such a joyful moment, and it was an attempt at unifying everyone, the whole world, like you said, Amie. And the world watches the Super Bowl, so there were a lot of people that probably understood what he was saying, and to ask him to sing in English, like somebody said, you wouldn't ask Pavarotti to sing a Latin opera in English so that we could understand it if he was the
artist,
guest or whatever. And so but yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And I did not watch the Turning Point USA show because I'm not a fan, but I did see some people that watched it, and it was kind of surprising that they would have Kid Rock knowing his lyrics about his love for underage girls. And especially with the Epstein situation being such a high profile thing right now. It's like, well, it feels like to me, y'all argue with me if I'm wrong, but it feels like that it doesn't really matter to, it didn't really matter to Turning Point USA what someone's music said or what they did, as long as they agreed with them politically. So if you agree with them politically, they can forgive you for over sexualized stuff, and so you're on their side. It's I don't know. That's kind of what it feels like. It's like you get a pass if you're a Republican,
Yeah. Yeah. It's that really, I mean, and it starts with the top leader on down, because he's been given a pass as well.
Yeah.
Despite lots of,
good point.
But yeah.
Pass after pass after pass.
After pass. Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. I saw something today. It said it's really hard to see Christians, screaming that they want all Americans, to have the same quote unquote morals as they do, when they don't hold their own leader to that same standard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really, really strange.
I noticed the songs that they chose to sing on the show, like there were a lot of like country songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I generally gravitate towards country because that's what I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe somehow it's in my blood to listen to that type of music. But like, that's not exactly morality. It's not screaming morality either.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of money involved. I think that the Turning Point thing, they may say it's a lot about God, but there's a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money to run a show like that too.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of like I noticed even in the talking and stuff, it's a lot about like, we're about to build something amazing, come on our side. Like, so it still doesn't have that feeling of like, what we could do, as opposed to like, hey, come on our side and we're going to do this new thing. Like, how can we just be part of the world? How can we work together? It's always like, we're getting ready to do this big, huge thing. Come on our side. And I'm assuming that means give money. And I had heard, because I listened to another podcast and they had said that, a couple of months ago when they were talking about, well, what do you want to see? Like when Turning Point, the organization, was asking people what do they want to see, they sent out this big thing, and at the bottom was a big donate.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
All of this is just my Hot Topics opinion.
That was like a big fundraiser, basically.
It's a big fundraiser. And I think a lot of this stuff is just a big fundraiser. As long as we keep fighting, people will, and as long as the battle is big and it's scary, we gotta give. Yeah. And the people at the top are making a killing.
Yeah. And that's why they continue with this us versus them narrative, right? Because they want you to feel like you belong to this special thing that other people are not part of. Like you're part of this special group. I mean, I hate to say it, but we see that in churches. We see that in different groups. It's like, hey, we're the right ones. We're the ones that are the good people. You want to be part of us. But to have an us, you have to have a them. And that's, dualistic thinking, like we talk about, a lot. And it's going to get us nowhere. It really is. It's sad.
One of the things when I was like, I didn't know all of the artists. I think Brentley Gilbert, years and years ago, I think like 2015, maybe, I had a playlist. I was like, I know I had a song from him on a playlist at some point. And so, yeah, it came on. I can't remember what it is now. I tend to forget music until it starts playing and then I remember it. But one of the things that came to mind when I was listening to it, I was actually like cleaning someone's house and I was listening to it on my earbuds through the YouTube. And I thought, okay, what does this mean? Like, do I gotta now I gotta dislike Carrie Underwood. Now I gotta dislike, now I gotta dislike this person. How do I navigate it? Because that feels really icky too. It seems like, oh, well, now Carrie Underwood is a Trump supporter. So what? Now I can't have my moment every once in a while with her and Vince Gill singing. What was that
How
song?
great thou art.
How
Yeah.
great thou art. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to give that up. And I guess that's the thing too. I don't want to get into that. I want to navigate the gray area, and I don't want to be like, oh, this person's a treasure, this person's junk, this person,
Right.
like I just don't want to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So it is difficult to navigate because I felt it in my mind. I was like, and now, okay, Amie, Kid Rock. I don't want to like chuck him out as a human being in my mind, but it's not like I have to deal with his music because it's not really my thing anyways.
Right.
But some of these other artists, I'm like,
The first time I remember,
or just people in general.
right. But the first time I remember that kind of dissonance with people in music was like when Michael Jackson was accused of all these horrible things. And then people were like, am I not supposed to listen to his music anymore? His music is so good. How am I supposed to separate that? Right.
Right. I remember that too.
Yeah.
I still have that when his music comes on. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it is kind of sombering. It does take a little bit of the joy out of it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, excuse me. We could talk about a million things. I don't know if have either one of you watched Heated Rivalry? I just have to ask.
I have not, but I mean, I've heard a lot about it, but
it's Canadian.
I know
it's great.
Well, I had a friend that I didn't think I wanted to watch it. But everyone was talking about it. It's a big thing. It broke records. There's like one of the episodes is like it broke this record on some scale that had been carried by an episode of Breaking Bad is like the best episode ever on TV. Wow. And so my husband was working a lot this week at night. So I thought, you know what, 6 episodes, I'll watch a few. Well, I have to say, there are some very vivid sexual scenes in it. And the first the first one, I was like, oh my, I felt kind of like a prude too. I was like, oh, maybe I should fast forward through this. But I watched the whole series, and it really, I think, is really well done. It really does show this beautiful love story. It doesn't necessarily start out as a love between them, but it develops over time. And I think they do a beautiful job. And just the way they have to navigate the world and keep their relationship a secret, because they're famous hockey players. And if it got out, it could ruin their careers and everything else. It was actually really enjoyable. It was like, once I got about 2 or 3 episodes in, I was like, okay, I got to follow this through and see what happens, and I guess they're filming a second season now.
Well, they'd have to. It's so popular. I can't believe how many people are just crazy about it.
Yeah, I think the actors do a really, really good job. So I was just wondering if y'all had seen that, because I know a lot of people.
I think it's too spicy for me.
I think it probably is, Amie.
I'm
Marcia,
not
would you
feel,
I know you're not.
Would you feel the same way? Would you guys feel the same way if it was a female and male character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would. That's a good point, Stacey. I just had never seen that type of intimacy between two men.
Right.
Like
I'd never seen it.
Right.
Like I'm kind of like assuming it's, like a lot of nudity and a lot of, anyway, I have an assumption of what it is, and that makes me uncomfortable.
Well, they don't show any members. They don't show any members.
Okay.
There was
lots of bare butts. Lots of bare
series
butts.
called The Travelers or something like that, which was it was 2 men, and it got incredible reviews. I think Jonathan Groff might have been in it. I forget who, but and it was similar, Marcia, to what you're describing. The first couple of episodes for me were so incredibly graphic with the two male lovers. And I understand that over the course of the series, their love story developed and really grew and deepened and everything. But like the initial way they introduced these characters was extremely sexual.
Yeah, that's
And I couldn't keep watching. And I had to ask myself that question. I said to myself, if this was a woman and a man, would I have the same reaction? And it was just hard for me to answer. I wasn't sure where it was coming from, but I just knew it just was I don't know. I couldn't keep watching without the story around it yet. You know what I mean? It
right.
was just so much.
Right. Well, I just wanted to see it through, and I'm glad I did, because the story
Mhm.
really does get uh deep, and you see a sweetness
Mhm.
that you don't expect that develops, and you see complicated relationships from it all. And the same thing. I just think I'm desensitized to seeing
Mhm.
sexualized men and women together. You see it
Mhm.
all the time. You see those
Right.
type of things, and
That's a good point.
I'm not used to seeing that
Mhm.
type of sexual encounter between two men.
Like
And
it's very
so,
lusty, right?
yes, at
Yeah.
first it
Yeah.
is, but
Without the relationship part, yeah. And
right.
I think that's, in my mind, like sexual experience and relationship kind of has to go together.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it feels, and I'm not saying that that's what's happening, because this is just my opinion.
Hmm.
It just feels a bit like using each other.
Yeah. But I
And
mean,
that
you
feels
see that
really empty to me. Like it
you s-
makes me inside feel
right.
really void. I have this void feeling. So,
Mm. Mhm.
Do you get that when you see that with a man and a woman too?
yeah.
When you see the lusty thing and it's no, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Then
that's fair.
and that could be because I have, like, stuff in my past, abuse in my past. So then
Yeah.
maybe that's why, like, it's
Yeah.
just triggering or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
just feels really empty,
Mhm.
like a
Right.
using.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe that's why the thing with the Super Bowl too, it hits me
Yeah.
that
I
way.
get that. I get
Yeah.
that. We all,
Well, then speaking of this whole topic, let's just move into the Epstein thing,
oh,
because I
yeah.
feel like if we're talking about
Oh,
getting sick
yeah.
to our stomachs at the idea of
Ugh.
people using people, it is so horrific to see this unfolding, even
Mhm.
with the stuff that the DOJ is redacting and holding back. It's like it's coming out in these little eeks and spurts that we're
Mhm.
getting in pieces, that it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Oh,
And
it's
yet
awful.
nobody is being held responsible.
I don't understand.
And
I'm
yet we kind of do. Like, I feel like this is like a biblical thing, It's just like those who are in power, they
Mhm.
just get away with stuff. That's just the weird reality that I feel like since maybe not the beginning of time, but like this is just a theme that
yeah.
I'll just say men. Men
Yeah.
plus power equals entitlement. It's a culture of entitlement.
Mhm.
They get away with it and it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I mean, some men have been like Weinstein, is that his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah.
He was held accountable.
Mhm.
Bill Cosby was held accountable.
Mhm.
But not
Benj
really.
well, they're in prison.
No, I think Bill Cosby, I think, is not in prison
Oh
anymore.
yeah, he's in prison.
Is he? I thought he got
I
out.
think so. I think he's still in. I thought he
Uh,
was.
You
look it
guys
up.
talk. I'll Google.
Okay, Google. I'm pretty sure he is in prison. But you're right. I mean, it what is happening is horrific, and seeing all of these, the fact that the DOJ is not doing what they're supposed to
Right.
do. They've been ordered legally to release all these things, and
Yeah.
then they're redacting the perpetrators' names and putting out victims' names in order to scare them into being quiet.
Oh, it's
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 horrific.
unconscionable. But I think to some extent, Amy, I see your point that this is just like the oldest story of all time, right?
It's
But
disgusting.
Yeah.
it is. But also, I think what gives it a new layer of sort of horror is the Ghislaine Maxwell element,
Oh,
which is the more they're uncovering about her, the more they're seeing that she was a key player in grooming and recruiting and going out and searching schools and making
Yeah,
promises
trailer
to the
parks, like
girls,
trailer
trailer
parks. Yeah.
parks, so it's like you know, there's patriarchy and then there's like just there's this level of just plain evil about
yeah.
this whole story that one can't even wrap their head around. I mean,
Yeah.
she's a woman doing this to other women.
Because without her, they probably would never have trusted these men
Yeah.
to go as far as they did, maybe. But they probably felt this, oh, Ghislaine's going to make sure I'm okay. Like she comes
Yeah.
across as this sort of mother figure, and she's going to
Yeah.
help them, and she's going to introduce them to these men that are going to, help them get out of these bad situations. So yes, she, I believe, is every bit as
Yeah.
evil and
Yeah.
and guilty as the men. It's
Yeah.
terrible.
And yet she's holding out for like clemency,
Yeah.
like she's
Yeah.
trying to make deals with
Uh-huh.
the administration to get off scot-free. And wow, it
Yeah.
is.
Trump already moved her from this bad prison into a like nice, comfy
Mhm,
prison. And why?
mhm.
But that's an example of he creates so much chaos at so many levels that, like, people are asking, like, why did you move Ghislaine? But then the next crazy thing comes on that just distracts everybody. You can't possibly keep up with
But
all of the insanity, and then you just feel overwhelmed,
But
It's
that's the like that.
yeah.
I actually had the thought this whole
Mhm.
the ice thing that happened in Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
I did have the thought, like, was that all just a
A distraction.
promotion,
Mhm,
distraction
Probably.
mhm.
to get our eyes off it? Because he just keeps over and over again saying, "Why are we still talking about this? Why are we still talking
Yeah.
about this?" And
Mhm.
it seems like some of the things he was accusing others of
Mhm.
was saying to my daughter, I was like, listen to when certain people talk, because they
Mhm.
will accuse other people of things that they are actually doing.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I did read, I can't remember what her name is. That's so bad. I should remember victims' names. That's terrible, Amy.
Oh, did you read the book?
Yeah, the
Oh,
Nobody's Girl.
Virginia
Yeah.
Giffray or
Virginia.
She
something like
ended
that.
up
Yeah.
killing herself. It was so sad too, because in the book she kind of not raves, but she talks very highly of her husband. And
Mm.
it turns out that her husband was very abusive.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I often try to think too of like the psychology behind why people do the things that they do. Like Ghislaine Maxwell, she was born in this rich family and she really
Right.
wanted to please her father all the time. And he was very wealthy. And I think she got addicted to male affirmation to the point that she was really willing to sell her soul and others just to continue to get that.
Mm.
Like she just really wanted to please this guy.
Mm.
Mhm.
So sick. It's so twisted.
And in
Well,
the courtroom too, when they were talking, I just caught some of that stuff. Um, all of the victims are, standing behind and there's just
Yeah.
people just denying it. And I just don't, like,
ugh.
Yeah.
it makes me so, my dad is like, Amy, you should not be watching this because it makes me so sad. Like I just get so
Yeah.
upset by it.
Yeah.
Like just let's drop all this stuff and let's just turn around, look people in the eye and realize these are hurting people that have been used and abused.
Mhm.
And then I
Yeah.
also think to these people who've done it, like there's a part of me that just says like, just own it. Don't you want to be free of that? Don't
Mhm.
you want to be free of the guilt and the shame and the lying and the facade? Don't you just own it?
They
But
never
they
will.
don't.
Mm-mm.
And that boggles my mind, because to me, that is the gospel. You know, Marcia, you and I have talked about different things that we've done in the past that we regret. And there was just like a time when I was like, I want to live in authenticity and in integrity. And I'm tired of this and I'm weary and I don't care who knows. It's almost like labor. Like you don't care what you're wearing or where you are or whatever. You're just like, any doctor anywhere, please just surround me and help me because I am drowning. And that's what I wish that these people who are so sick in their souls and in their minds, like, I think that's one thing too. I hesitate to just also call them trash, because that's not going to create an atmosphere in the world in which people who are stuck in these patterns of behavior, I don't know, maybe they're just too far gone that they never would anyways.
I think it's a really compassionate perspective. It is, and it's a difficult one to sit in, Amie. And I mean, honestly, I haven't even spent 30 seconds thinking about the souls of the people that perpetrated on these young girls. I haven't. And it's good to be reminded that they are human beings with souls.
If they're in there, their soul is in there. And
yes, but I do need to say
wickedness.
I also, though, need to say we can't take our eyes off the victims and the survivors, because if we
absolutely
do,
not.
It's like, and I feel like maybe that's part of why, like, you know how in the UK they immediately kicked out Andrew from the royal family, and
Right.
I mean, relatively speaking, I saw the castle they put him in, right? He's still, but the point being, at least they made some kind of show of reprimanding him, whereas here we can't get near Trump with a 10-foot pole, and anybody else whose picture seems to pop up, we're just kind of nothing to see here, nothing to see here. So it's like, I just feel like there needs to be some public shaming of these men in order to, I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I also just think there has to be justice. There has to be some kind of public shaming too. And I know you're not saying not, but
no.
Yeah.
And Pam Bondi too, and we'll wrap this up, but we're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, how a woman could be part of the pain of these other women.
Yes.
And, you know, the fact that she wouldn't even turn around and acknowledge these victims yesterday.
I saw that today in the news.
Like Trump is intentionally, I believe, putting women in charge of that situation, that Kristi Noem. He's smart. And he's like, I'm going to have a woman as my front man here, you know, and let her take the heat. Yep. And it's unbelievable to me. Because if you could imagine if it was a man, they would all be saying, you know, they would be looking at it in a different way. But, you know, it's like, she's a woman. She cares about victims. No, she doesn't. Clearly.
That's exactly what Epstein was doing with Ghislaine Maxwell too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
What a woman. Yeah.
Right.
And then are there some women who are just so wanting?
Yeah.
You know?
Clearly there are. Well, they want power too, or they want prestige, or they want fame, or whatever. I mean, you know, greed and power does not exist only in men. It's clearly, you know. But, well, we have been talking for a while. I have 2 quick yays and nays for you. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. So my first, is this a yay or a nay for you guys? The Olympics.
Yay.
Yay, when I can get to it. It hasn't been on my priority list, but I'm happy that it's happening, and it's a joyful thing for sure.
Yeah. I've been trying. I love to watch the figure skating. So that's what I've been trying to keep an eye on, but I can't watch all of it, but it is fun. It's great to see, you know, something that the world can all do together, watch together.
Yes.
It is unifying. That's cool. And the opening ceremonies were stunning. I have to say, Italy knocked it out of the park. It was such a beautiful, unifying, show of peace and love, and we're all together. It was so beautifully done. Okay, the other yay or nay, Valentine's Day. I just saw Amie roll her eyes.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, I'm like, how am I going to answer this question? I don't have anybody.
I know you're single right now.
Yeah.
Well, and then I'm on the entirely other end of the spectrum. I feel like I've been married 40 years. And it's like, let me just tell you what's going down here. I went out and bought C's Candy and said, like, we both look, because C's Candy is like the best chocolates in the world. So I went and bought the chocolates yesterday and came home and just was like, Happy Valentine's Day, babe. And we ripped it open. We're like, we're starting early.
Yeah. I know. It's a
yay, but it's also a like, meh.
Yeah.
That sounds so romantic. Are you kidding me?
Well, let me tell you what's going down here. I'm in this band with my husband, and we get a text message about a month ago that said, hey, Filling Station wants us to play on February 14th. Y'all want to do it? And I'm like, we're going to play a gig on Valentine's Day. Mike was like, why not? I'm like, everyone was like, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I was like, okay, I guess we're going to go.
It's going to work.
Yeah. So we're going to go do a little gig at a little.
But at least you're doing it together. That's
cool. True. We'll be together, and we do like to play music together, and we love all the guys in the band, and there'll be a lot of laughs and fun. So it won't be.
And that's in the evening, right?
It is.
Okay. It's Valentine's Day, coffee out and breakfast. Doesn't that sound romantic? Maybe I've been single too long.
I got to get up early, put on my
makeup.
I mean, to look pretty.
Oh my gosh. Man. I remember one year my friends Britt and Wes went to White Castle on it was like it was Valentine's Day, but the White Castle was doing this big thing where they were like putting tablecloths on the table and and everything, and there was like a TV camera there to see who was going to show up for dinner at White Castle, and they were there and they were on TV.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, well.
Wow.
Happy Galentine's Day to you too.
Happy Galentine's Day to you as well.
It's a day of love, and I love y'all, and I'm so glad that you guys at the last minute said you'd come on and do a little chat tonight. So thanks so much. I always love talking with y'all.
It wasn't as painful as I thought it was going to be.
You did.
Well, although the topics were really tough, like the.
Let me see your armpits. Heavy. Are you sweating?
That made me sweat.
Oh, thanks, girls. I'm sure we'll have you guys back. Everyone have a great week. Thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all in a couple of weeks on the Fresh Start Podcast. Bye. This episode has been brought to you by God and My Girlfriend's Ministries. If you're looking for a faith-based community where everyone is accepted, all beliefs are welcome, and no judgment, check out godandmygirlfriendsministries.org, where you can find more information about our book clubs, both online and in person, upcoming retreats, and all the events in your area. You can also find out about one of our favorite things that we do, our Single Moms Christmas Blessing Ministry. So go check out godandmygirlfriendsministries.org. We would love to have you a part of our community.